Jennifer Lopez's appearance on The View was expected to be nothing short of iconic. It had been billed as a celebration of her latest movie release, her music comeback, and her expanding role as a producer and entrepreneur. Fans were thrilled to see her sitting alongside the panel of seasoned hosts, including the formidable Whoopi Goldberg. When the cameras started rolling, everything seemed smooth. J. Lo was radiant in a tailored cream-colored suit, flashing her signature smile, and Whoopi opened with a warm welcome. But beneath the surface, tensions had been brewing long before the cameras turned on. According to insiders, producers had warned that the conversation might veer toward controversial territory, particularly about the backlash Lopez had received for her recent documentary and a series of social media comments about Latina representation in Hollywood. What no one anticipated was that the polite tone would dissolve into a fiery, verbal clash that ended in Lopez being asked to leave mid-show after an unfiltered exchange with Whoopi that rattled the studio and set social media on fire. The first few minutes of the show went off without a hitch. Jennifer discussed her new Netflix project, her children, and her artistic process with charm and grace. Joy Behar asked a few playful questions about Ben Affleck and their blended family, to which Lopez responded with a soft laugh and a light-hearted, "We're still figuring it out." But when Sunny Hostin shifted the discussion to Lopez's comments about the lack of opportunities for Latin women in Hollywood, the atmosphere subtly changed. Jennifer, clearly prepared, began outlining her points about systemic exclusion and the need for more diverse storytellers. She cited statistics and personal experiences, stating, "I've had to fight for every inch of space, and still I'm questioned." Whoopi, who had been silent up to this point, finally spoke. "But do you think maybe some of that fight comes from not acknowledging the privileges you've had to? I mean, you're one of the most successful entertainers in the world." Jennifer blinked, her smile dimming. "Success doesn't erase struggle," she said calmly, but her tone was firmer now. Whoopi leaned forward. "Nobody's questioning your hustle. You're legendary. But when people hear someone at your level talking about being overlooked, it can come off as tone-deaf." Jennifer's eyebrows arched slightly. "Tone-deaf? For speaking about my community's challenges?" the audience murmured. Whoopi clarified, "I'm just saying. Sometimes when you're sitting on top of the mountain, folks at the bottom don't feel seen when you claim the climb is still just as hard." Lopez didn't back down, so I'm supposed to pretend. "The climb wasn't brutal just because I survived it." Her voice didn't rise, but the tension in her words was unmistakable. "I didn't get handed anything. I've been told I'm too Latina for Hollywood and too Hollywood for Latinas. I live in a space where I constantly have to prove I belong." The audience offered an uncertain mix of applause and discomfort, unsure whether to support Lopez's passion or Whoopi's grounded perspective. Sarah N. tried to jump in with a neutral comment, attempting to shift the energy, but it was too late. The room had already locked onto the growing standoff between Jennifer and Whoopi. Whoopi crossed her arms. "Jennifer, I think what's missing is context. You've got young actresses out there working 2 jobs, trying to land 1 commercial, and they hear a global superstar saying she's being silenced. It's jarring." Jennifer, no longer smiling, responded with all due respect, "I never said I was silenced. I said I was underestimated. I won't apologize for calling that out. Just because I'm visible doesn't mean I'm heard the way I should be." The applause this time was louder, but so was the tension. Whoopi replied, "Visibility without responsibility is dangerous too." Jennifer raised an eyebrow. "Responsibility? You're talking to someone who's built herself from the ground up, invested in Latin businesses, mentored new artists. How dare you question my responsibility to my people?" Her voice cracked slightly with emotion. And that's when the studio shifted from heated to explosive. At that moment, the energy shifted completely. Whoopi, never one to back down, shot back, "I'm not questioning your work, I'm questioning how you talk about it. There's a difference." Jennifer, visibly upset now, leaned forward. "And maybe I'm tired of having to soften my truth so it's more comfortable for other people to digest." The audience went silent. Joy Behar turned visibly tense, whispering something to a producer just off camera. One of the showrunners gestured from the wings. Then Jennifer stood up. If this is what supporting each other looks like, maybe. We still have a lot more work to do than I thought. She pulled off her microphone and laid it neatly on the coffee table. I came here to have a conversation, not be lectured on how I should speak my truth. Whoopi didn't respond immediately. She just stared, expression unreadable. Without further drama, Jennifer walked off the stage, back straight, heels clicking against the floor, leaving a stunned panel and audience in her wake. Asterisk, within minutes, the internet exploded. Clips of the altercation were posted to social media, with captions like J.Lo versus Whoopi who won, and Jennifer Lopez walks off the view after fiery clash. Hashtags including hashtag JLO walks off, hashtag Whoopi vs Jennifer, and hashtag view meltdown began trending. Fans took sides with passionate intensity. Some applauded Lopez for standing up for herself and refusing to allow her narrative to be redirected. Whoopi saying she was offering an elder's perspective on responsibility and privilege. Talk show analysts, celebrity bloggers, and even mainstream journalists weighed in. The tension wasn't just about two powerful women clashing. It was about identity, power, and who gets to speak on behalf of a marginalized group. Critics said the show blindsided Lopez. Supporters of The View argued that tough questions are part of the package. Either way, the entire segment eclipsed the very movie Lopez had come to promote. It wasn't about entertainment anymore. It had become political. Asterisk, the fallout continued into the evening. Lopez's team released a measured statement. Jennifer stands by her comments and will continue to speak out on issues affecting the Latin community. She thanks The View for the opportunity and wishes the panel all the best. Issue an individual statement. But the next morning's The View broadcast opened with Joy Behar, briefly addressing the incident. Sometimes conversations get passionate. That's what happens when strong women discuss real issues. We respect Jennifer and the work she does. It was a diplomatic effort to move forward, but the damage had already been done. News shows around the country opened with the headline, "Cable pundits debated the moment." On Good Morning America, a panel discussed the blurred line between advocacy and ego. On TikTok, thousands of users reenacted the walk-off moment with dramatic flair. The moment had transcended pop culture and entered a broader cultural dialogue. Asterisk, in the following days, Jennifer went quiet on social media, no stories, no tweets, no promotion. Then, without warning, she posted a black and white image of herself as a young girl performing in a Bronx talent show. The caption read, "They told her she was too much. She kept going." The post went viral immediately. Celebrities like Viola Davis, Shakira, and Eva Longoria reposted it with words of support. Meanwhile, Whoopi stayed focused on the show's regular programming, but it was clear the mood had shifted. Every guest appearance was now being dissected by fans looking for subtext. Rumors swirled that the producers had reached out to Lopez to return for a part 2 to clear the air. Sources close to Jennifer said she declined. She had said what she needed to say, and walking away wasn't a defeat. It was her final word, asterisk, for many observers. The incident was more than just a celebrity scuffle. It became emblematic of the friction between generational approaches to activism, the burden placed on women of color in public life, and the struggle for representation without scrutiny. Commentators on radio and podcasts noted that Jennifer Lopez, despite her decades of success, still faces the impossible challenge of proving her authenticity while being criticized for her visibility. Others argued that Whoopi, as a trailblazer herself, had a right to challenge how that visibility is framed. The clash was seen not as a division, but as a symptom of a much larger conversation that the entertainment world, and society at large, continues to wrestle with. What does solidarity actually look like when the cameras are rolling and egos, histories, and expectations collide? Asterisk, Jennifer Lopez being kicked off for choosing to walk off The View will be remembered as one of the most explosive daytime TV moments in recent memory, not for the drama alone, but for what it revealed about the intersection of fame, race, gender, and advocacy.
Ow.
To powerhouse women niche with her own legacy collided not because of animosity, but because of deep convictions. Lopez, by standing up and walking out, signaled a new chapter in how public figures may navigate contentious dialogues. She refused to conform, to appease, or to apologize for her fire. And in doing so, she reignited a debate that reached far. Beyond that television set, whether one agrees with her or not, it's undeniable that Jennifer Lopez didn't just make headlines, that Deicai made history, and reminded the world that even icons have their limits.